You'd be interested in fighting Apollo Creed for the World Heavyweight Championship?
Rocky wasn't just about an unknown fighter getting his shot. It was made by a broke actor who had to sell his beloved dog for grocery money and turn down millions to star in his own script. From meat lockers to ice skating rinks, from 3-day riding marathons to actors taking real punches, these 9 weird facts reveal that making Rocky was just as much of an underdog battle as the story itself. Let's step into the ring. Fact number 1. The dog story that might be Hollywood's greatest myth. The legend goes like this. Broke and desperate, Stallone sold his beloved dog Butkus for $40 outside a 7-Eleven because he couldn't afford food. When Rocky made him rich, he tracked down the new owners who had grown attached to the dog over 6 months. They weren't thrilled to give him back, so they jacked up the price to a staggering $15,000. Stallone paid every penny, saying, "This dog belongs in the movie. He had suffered along with me for 2 years." Stallone's own brother Frank demolished the entire tale in 2020, calling it such a bullshit story, and insisting Stallone drove to California with Butkus as a puppy and never sold him. Yet Stallone still tells this story, even posting it on Instagram in 2017. So is it real or the greatest Hollywood myth ever created? Nobody knows for sure, but the uncertainty has made it more legendary than most actual movies. Fact number 2. Stallone wrote the script in 3.5 days after watching a fight. The entire Rocky script, one of cinema's greatest underdog stories, was written in just 3.5 days after Stallone watched a single boxing match. On March 24, 1975, Stallone witnessed Chuck Wepner go the distance with Muhammad Ali, lasting 15 rounds when everyone expected him to be knocked out in the first. Stallone was so inspired by this unknown fighter's determination that he rushed to his dingy apartment and wrote non-stop for days. He had no car, no money, and was living on canned food, but he poured his heart into creating Rocky Balboa. The crazy part? He originally sold the script for $100,000, but negotiated to star in it himself. A desperate actor watching one boxing match on TV accidentally created one of the most beloved sports movies ever made. Fact number 3. Studios offered millions, but Stallone refused unless he could star. Here's where Stallone's gamble gets absolutely insane. Major studios loved his Rocky script so much they offered him massive amounts of money. We're talking millions in 1970s dollars. Burt Reynolds, Ryan O'Neal, and other A-list stars were being considered for the lead role. Stallone turned down huge sums of money when investors refused to let him take the lead role. Think about this. A broke, unknown actor with $106 in the bank is offered life-changing money, and he says no because he wants to play the character he created. Friends called him crazy. His wife was furious. But Stallone knew that Rocky was his story to tell. He eventually found a producer who would let him play the character he'd written for himself, but only for a fraction of the original offers. Sometimes believing in yourself means turning down millions to chase your dreams. Fact number 4. The iconic meat locker scene almost didn't happen. Rocky's training montage, where he punches slabs of beef in a meat locker, has become one of cinema's most iconic scenes, but it almost never happened because of budget constraints and health regulations. The production team had to convince an actual Philadelphia meat processing plant to let them film during business hours, disrupting their entire operation. But here's the intriguing part. Stallone genuinely punched real sides of beef hanging in a freezing cold locker for hours on end. The meat was authentic, the chill was intense, and his hands were taking a severe beating with every take. The workers at the plant thought the actors were completely out of their minds, who willingly let themselves get pummeled by frozen meat. The scene not only captured Rocky's blue-collar grit, but also highlighted Stallone's readiness to inflict pain on himself for the sake of his craft. Fact number 5. They filmed the ice rink scene at 5 a.m. with no permits. The romantic ice skating scene between Rocky and Adrian was filmed guerrilla style at 5 a.m. without any official permits. The production couldn't afford to rent the rink properly, so they snuck in before opening hours with just a skeleton crew and handheld cameras. Neither Stallone nor Talia Shire could actually ice skate. They're literally holding each other up while trying to deliver romantic dialogue and not fall on their faces. The crew was racing against time because the rink would open to the public in just a few hours. Every take was rushed, every movement was tentative, and the fear of getting caught added real tension to their performances. The result is one of cinema's most genuine romantic moments, created through pure desperation and determination. Fact number 6. Apollo Creed was based on Muhammad Ali's showmanship. Carl Weathers' iconic portrayal of Apollo Creed was a carefully crafted tribute to Muhammad Ali's legendary showmanship and promotional genius. Stallone studied Ali's press conferences, his trash-talking style, and his theatrical personality to create the perfect larger-than-life opponent for his everyman hero. Weathers had to convince Stallone he could handle the role by actually sparring with him. The audition wasn't just reading lines, it was getting in a ring and throwing real punches. Weathers knocked Stallone down during their audition fight, and that's what got him the part. Imagine going to a job interview and having to fight your potential co-star. The chemistry between Rocky and Apollo came from genuine respect earned through actual combat. Fact number 7. It took an exhausting number of takes to capture the steps scene. The legendary Philadelphia Museum steps scene, Rocky's triumphant run ending with arms raised in victory, is one of cinema's most inspiring moments. But filming it was absolute chaos. They had no permits to film at the museum, no crowd control, and no security. Just Stallone running up the steps while the cameraman tried to keep up. They had to shoot the scene hundreds of times because curious onlookers kept wandering into the frame. Every take was interrupted by tourists, joggers, or people who recognized Stallone and wanted autographs. The crew would clear the steps, start filming, and within minutes, random people would appear in the background. The final shot you see in the movie represents probably the 200th attempt to get a clean take. That iconic moment of triumph was achieved through pure persistence against impossible odds, just like Rocky himself. Fact number 8. The boxing scenes weren't staged. The brutal boxing match between Rocky and Apollo Creed looks so realistic because much of it actually was real. Stallone and Carl Weathers threw genuine punches throughout filming, and the blood you see on screen often came from actual cuts and bruises sustained during the fight choreography. Stallone insisted on taking real hits to make the fight look authentic. His face was genuinely swollen and bruised throughout production. The cut above his eye that becomes a major plot point? That was a real injury that happened during filming. Weathers later admitted he was terrified of seriously hurting Stallone, but the actor kept demanding more realistic contact. The final fight scene is essentially a controlled beating that Stallone volunteered for in the name of authenticity. Fact number 9. The movie made $225 million on a $1 million budget. Rocky's financial success story is almost as unlikely as the movie's plot. The film was shot on a budget of just $1 million, pocket change by Hollywood standards even in 1976. The entire production was a masterclass in creative poverty, using real locations, unknown actors, and guerrilla filmmaking techniques. Rocky earned over $225 million worldwide, making it one of the most profitable films ever made. That's a 22,500% return on investment. The movie that almost didn't get made because studios wouldn't let an unknown actor star in his own script became a cultural phenomenon that spawned 8 sequels and launched multiple careers. It won Best Picture at the Academy Awards, beating out classics like All the President's Men and Taxi Driver. Rocky proved that heart and determination can triumph over Hollywood's biggest budgets. And there you have it, 9 absolutely wild facts proving that Rocky's behind-the-scenes story is just as inspiring as the movie itself. From selling beloved pets to turning down millions for artistic integrity, Stallone's journey to the screen was the ultimate underdog victory. Which fact amazed you the most? Let me know in the comments below. And if you love these incredible Hollywood stories, hit that subscribe button for more tales where real life was more dramatic than the movies.